Welcome to video number 25. Hey everyone, my name's Shane and I'm a big baseball fan. Welcome to 3 Up, 3 Down. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. If it's your first time, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button. We're on our way to 50 subscribers, hoping to hit it by the end of the baseball season. Speaking of the baseball season, you guys crushed in terms of my trade deadline videos. So today we're back to wrap up the trade deadline. Here at 3 Up, 3 Down, we like to name 3 ups and 3 downs. For today's video, we're going to name 3 winners and 3 losers of the Major League Baseball trade deadline. Let's go! Our first winner of the Major League Baseball trade deadline has to be the San Diego Padres. Padres being the big ticket in Juan Soto and the game's top closer in Josh Hader. You have to love what GM AJ Preller is doing in San Diego. He is really going for it. And what I think makes the Padres a winner in all this is the fact that they've got both players for another year. It's not all about this year. I'm on the record saying I'm not a big believer in signing Juan Soto and acquiring him for a long-term run, but this does make sense for the Padres. I really like what they're putting together here. The offense is going to be awesome. What I'm a little questioning right now with the Padres, are they going to have the depth in the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings to bridge the gap between starting pitcher and Josh Hader come playoff time? But there's no question the offense is going to be phenomenal if Fernando Tatis Jr. can get back and swing in it. I absolutely love the motivation for the Padres. The question will be long-term if they can get Soto re-signed, if they can make the finances work in that market. But for what they're doing right now for this year and next year, I think they've got a real opportunity to put together a championship team in San Diego. Of course, they got to go through the big bad Dodgers in the West, but it's going to be very interesting come playoff time. I don't think they'll catch the Dodgers in the NL West this season, so they're putting themselves in a real predicament with that wild card spot with a 3-game best-of-3 series. But any team coming into Petco Park in San Diego is going to have a real hard time knocking off these Padres. So our first winner of the MLB trade deadline has to be the San Diego Padres. Our first loser of the MLB trade deadline has to be the Chicago Cubs. I'm okay with the Cubs not trading Ian Happ. You've got him under contract for another year under team control. You can make that deal in the offseason or potentially approaching next year's trade deadline. But I'm really confused as to why Wilson Contreras is still a Cub. He's such a good hitter. He brings adequate enough defense to the catching position. I'm not understanding why a big league team didn't take a shot on Contreras and really make a push here. I think the deal with Christian Vasquez heading to Houston, that made a lot of sense for the Astros. I'm surprised a team like the Mets didn't try and counteract this move. Contreras is a quality player, but I'm just not sure why the Cubs felt the need to hang on to him. Or maybe the offers just weren't there. It sounds like the qualifying offers are going to still be a part of MLB's negotiation system this offseason. So that pretty much guarantees Contreras will have a compensation pick attached to him for the draft. So if you aren't getting more value than what you think could be a first-round draft pick in that supplemental draft between the first and second rounds, it does make some sense to hang on to Contreras. The fact that Contreras didn't bring in those types of offers or top those types of offers is just shocking to me. I'm really not sure where the Cubs go for here. Maybe they do take a shot and try signing him longer term and filling that catcher position long term with Contreras as they try to work through their rebuild and build some stability behind the plate with their young pitching staff. But I guess we'll wait and see. For now, I think the Cubs need to make this deal and get the most value they could out of Contreras. I don't think the value is going to be there going forward. So for my video, I'm saying it is a loss for the Chicago Cubs for this deadline. It's back to the winners for the deadline and the Philadelphia Phillies. Do you want to be a National League team facing the Phillies for a 3-game series and they're rolling out at you Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, and Noah Syndergaard? That may be the best 1 through 3 starting rotation for a wild card series that any National League team can produce. The Phillies are really making a great push here. I love the acquisitions. And I love the fact they picked up Brandon Marsh from the Angels as well. He's going to fill a real defensive hole in the outfield, providing them some more stability from the left-hand side of the plate. I love what the Phillies did here, and they didn't spend a lot to make these acquisitions. Syndergaard is a rental. I really like the Marsh trade down the road for the Phillies as well. This makes a lot of sense. Kind of a build now, build later scenario. If Bryce Harper can get back and swing into 2, oh boy, these Phillies could be real challenge in the playoffs and could really scare some of the top contenders in the National League. And the other big win for the Phillies is Juan Soto being moved from the Nationals, as well as Josh Bell. Now, why do I bring up all that? Because the Phillies still have 11 games left with the Nationals the rest of the year. No other team has more than 6. So those are huge games. The Phillies can really cement their wild card status playing that mediocre to poor team that's going to be put in the field in Washington. They can beat up on the Nationals, maybe go 10-1, 9-2 in those games, and that pretty much locks them into a wild card playoff spot. Who knows? Maybe they even get red hot and chase down the Braves or something in that division. But I love what the Phillies did. Minor trade ideas that can gain you big time traction. Love what they're doing. Love the chances of the Phillies in the playoffs. I've said it before in other videos. I'm from Canada. I'm a Toronto Blue Jays fan, and the Toronto Blue Jays are taking an L for me. I don't know what the Blue Jays are doing with this trade deadline. I don't mind the pickups in terms of pitching depth for Zach Pop, Anthony Bass, Micah White. Those guys are going to add depth to the pitching staff, but they're not going to win you a playoff series. And it's been talked, the Blue Jays need power arms in the bullpen. They didn't get that. They need left-handed hitting. They didn't get that. They need starting pitching. They didn't get that. So what exactly are they doing? And the acquisition of Whit Merrifield is just baffling to me. Yes, he provides depth, but he's having one of the worst offensive seasons of his career, and we don't know his vaccination status still. So if he's not vaccinated, he can't play in Toronto. Well, they're going to lose half the games the rest of the year where Merrifield can't play. I know they're protecting against the George Springer injury, but if Merrifield can't play, or if he's just now getting vaccinated, he's not going to be able to play in Canada for at least 3 weeks before he can get his second dose, and I believe it's a couple weeks after that. So we're talking 6 weeks potentially that Merrifield's not eligible to play in Canada, even if he's just getting vaccinated now. So this just makes absolutely no sense. When you look at what the Phillies gave up for Noah Syndergaard, that makes a lot of sense. The fact that the Angels traded Raisel Iglesias to the Braves, that would have made sense for the Blue Jays. They needed to make some bigger acquisitions here to really stabilize their bullpen. Their offense is humming along right now, but they needed more in terms of the pitching staff, and they needed a left-handed bat. They got nothing of value that's really going to sustain them for the rest of the year. The players they got back will be serviceable. They will add some bullpen depth. The fact that Ross Stripling just went on the injured list the day of the trade deadline, that tells you they knew in advance and they didn't fill a need at starting pitcher. I don't know what Ross Atkins and the Jays are doing. So for me, they're taking an L for this trade deadline. Our third and final winner of the MLB trade deadline, in my eyes, is the Atlanta Braves. I know there's other teams out there that made some really nice moves. I like what the Yankees did. I like what the Mariners did. The Atlanta Braves acquisitions have a chance to be really sneaky good and help them defend their title. Raisel Iglesias in an 8th inning spot in front of Kenley Jansen, that makes a lot of sense and improves that Braves bullpen. Robbie Grossman to fill in for Adam Duvall, that pop in production. That Grossman has struggled this year, but if he can get back to what he was last year in providing some real power, he really offsets the loss and injury of Adam Duvall, and maybe he hits in the way that Duvall, Soler, and Rosario did last year for the Braves. Bringing in Jake Odorizzi to lengthen that starting rotation. He could be their number 3 guy in a 3-game series in the playoffs. That really hits well for me as well. Odorizzi's got a lot of playoff experience between the Rays and the Astros. I think he makes a lot of sense for the Braves in helping that rotation. I think Odorizzi gives a lot of length to that rotation as well. That really helps them for depth as they try and track down the Mets in the last couple months of the year. And the sneaky one that I absolutely love, the 10-year contract to Austin Riley. I know I'm not a fan of these massive contracts, but it's just over $20 million. We're talking an average about $21 million a year for Austin Riley for the next 10 years. The top end guys are well over 30 and approaching 40. I think in 3 or 4 years' time in particular, and right now as well, Austin Riley is a massive bargain. We're only taking him through about age 35 season in this contract. We're avoiding that real drop-off that we typically see right around that 34, 35 years old. To lock him in at third base with Matt Olson at first, the universal DH now in play, Austin Riley, a long-term deal with the Braves. Love it. We know that GM Alex Anthopoulos knows how to win, and I think he really showed it again in this trade deadline. Our last and final loser of the MLB trade deadline, it's actually a 2-for-1 here. It's the Cleveland Guardians and the Chicago White Sox. I actually really like the moves that the Minnesota Twins made, and the fact that they showed their fan base and to their team that they are going to take a swing at this in the AL Central just shows how little the White Sox and Guardians did to improve their teams. I really think both teams missed out an opportunity here to try and track down the Twins. The Twins are not the type of team that are going to run away with this division. The Guardians and White Sox, with a couple of tweaks here and there, could have really put themselves in a proper playoff position and spot to chase down the Twins in the AL Central or to boost their chances in the AL wildcard and tracking down the Rays. I really don't like what they're doing here. I think that both teams missed on an opportunity, especially Cleveland, given how strong their farm system is. They could afford to make some moves and lose a couple players that way. The White Sox farm system isn't as strong, but there definitely were moves out there that would have made a lot more sense for them. I think the Guardians could have used some starting pitching depth in terms of a Noah Syndergaard type move or a Jose Quintana. I think the White Sox could have really gone after Whit Merrifield, given that he was traded. He would have fit really well with Chicago in at second base there. Just doesn't make sense from either team. So a 2-for-1 special for the AL Central. Both teams are taking an L for the MLB trade deadline. Thank you so much for making it all the way in the video. I greatly appreciate all the support here at 3 Up 3 Down. We're 25 videos in and making our way towards 50 subscribers. Our goal is to hit that before the end of the MLB season. You guys absolutely love my trade deadline talks, so I greatly appreciate all the views, all the comments. If you want to leave me a comment down below, I'll get back to you, guaranteed. I love talking baseball. Tell me who one of your winners or who one of your losers were for the trade deadline, and I'll get back to you. Until next time, take care, everyone.